I'm Eric Paul Johnson.
And I'm Eric Winsenson.
And I'm Bob. Um, and so bonus tracks for when I was a boy. But first, MJ from our YouTube page wanted to say to Andrew Kelly, respect, which I think means that he thought it was pretty cool that Andrew left that little phone call saying, "Look, man, I wasn't trying to be a jerk." And he gave the podcast a chance instead of just, well, these guys just suck after listening to one episode and abandoning it and just ripping us. So Andrew came around, which was smart.
Which could have been almost easy to do if you're listening to some of the first of them.
Yeah. When people are new to the podcast, they listen to one of our more recent episodes and they say they're going to go back and listen to all of them. I tell them, be patient with our episodes for the first 3 albums. They're kind of distorty, which accidentally happens to go along with the first 3 albums, which were a little distorty sometimes.
True.
Yeah.
Think the first season and a half of Star Trek: The Next Generation. If somebody tells you, hey, you got to watch this show, be patient.
Yeah, wait out that first season. Yeah, just slog through it.
Yeah, wait for them to get rid of the racism and
Oh my God.
assaulting Troy and everything else.
Or just get rid of Troy.
Yeah.
No, not Troy. Yar.
Well, no, Troy is the one who always seems to get assaulted.
Right, but I mean,
Or just got killed because she wanted actual money.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Yar felt like Denise anyway, said she felt like a glorified extra, and I mean, at the time, I thought, this is Star Trek. This is going to go on forever. You're never going to have to work. Well, you won't have to look for work again. Just kind of ride it out. But I didn't like her character. At least the first season. I'm not blaming her. They gave her some.
I think it was the writing. I don't even think it was her acting. I think it was the writing.
Oh, it was totally the writing. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there going, her acting's not that good in this, but I'd seen her in other stuff and she was fine.
Yeah.
But then later ones, when they brought her back as her alternate universe character and as a Romulan and everything else,
yeah,
just fine.
Yeah. No, I think it's a mixture of writing and it's the first season and nobody's really quite set in their role just yet. They're all still trying to figure it out. They had a pretty good idea, but I mean, Data says contractions through first few episodes of the first season. And then Lore comes on and it's like, oh, suddenly I can't say contractions. So.
Well, remember, Spock smiles through the cage.
Yes. Yes. And he gets irritated in the first Kirk episode or the second one where they're playing the tri-level chess. And you play an irritating game of chess. Oh, Spock, you're getting emotional. You shut up! And he just knocks all the pieces off and Spock storms off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Goes and gets drunk, slaps a couple people around, and like Spock normally does.
Yeah. And then it went from where Spock smiling, oh, these plants are singing, how adorable, to where Spock smiles, nothing good is going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, because it means he's got a bottle of Romulan ale in one hand, and he's in his muscle shirt with a mustard stain on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And speaking of nothing good happening, comments about When I Was a Boy. Actually, no, I'm being a smartass. As we said, we love When I Was a Boy.
Yeah, that song was actually good.
Yeah.
And Jim Kahn agrees. He says, love this song from the first time I heard it. A classic that can find a place on E.L.O.'s greatest hits without any shame, in my opinion. That descending chord thing was a Lennon hallmark, but Jeff made it his own through the years, and full of other bits that always make his music a delight. That little string flurry, his wonderful falsetto, and a great melodic guitar solo. My only quibble outside of the mixing was the over quantized drum rolls. Wonderful stuff otherwise.
Yeah. Mark Jealous. I take your point about rich people being nostalgic for poorer times. Simpler times, perhaps, and the base from which we have since grown many branches, or indeed uprooted completely, but worth looking back on from time to time, if only to keep humble and grateful for what you have. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I'm financially stable now, but I wasn't 10 years ago. However, I don't look back on that, fondly. I look back on it and think, thank God that's over with. I hope I never go back there again. So,
That's the exact same attitude I have.
yeah.
I can understand why a lot of people, if they grow up poor and they actually have money later on, that they pack it away in coffee cans and hide it in a corner.
Or sealed up in the wall in your bathroom and hope the plumber doesn't have to tear out the walls.
That's not a poor person. That's
No, I guess that's true. Yeah.
that yeah, and it turns out that money, I think, yeah, the reason that they're investigating that is because a bunch of money actually did go missing from the church,
Oops.
and about the amount that they found.
That's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what's strange is I've got a feeling probably someone else was involved in it, because typically if you know your money's there before the plumber comes, you kind of grab all your cash and checks and move them someplace else.
If you're smart, yeah. Or unless you forgot what bathroom wall you sealed them up in.
Oh, that's
But
true.
if you hide $600,000, you're probably gonna keep it in your mind where you hid that money. So, you
Yeah.
know,
Or you could be like that guy back in when Katrina hit. It was one of the politicians there in Louisiana. All of his bribe money was in his freezer.
oh, I remember that guy. Yeah,
Yeah, and he left it there
yeah.
when he took off, and yeah, and somebody found it.
Oh my God, I didn't know.
Somebody, yeah, somebody with law enforcement found
Yeah,
it.
I didn't know that was in there. I thought it was full of hot pockets. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
I was getting back here. I was rushing back to make sure they didn't spoil.
yes. That's it entirely. Because you don't
Yeah.
want hot pockets to go bad.
Yeah, because yeah, those things will then, if they go bad, they'll make you sick and they'll taste bad. Wait a minute, no, that's just
That's
a hot pocket in
that's just a
general.
regular, well refrigerated hot pocket. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Hot pockets.
Anyway,
Raggett says.
yep.
And so the beginning of the end, in many ways, I've not been looking forward to Alone in the Universe, and Foon for that matter. They're not albums I default to. Not that they're bad, but that my hand goes to different titles. They lack really memorable songs. However, at least this one starts with a decent song, a properly decent song. In fact, maybe one of the best on the whole album. I must confess, I like the nostalgic feel and lyrics. They really evoke what the UK of the 60s and 70s would have felt like to a music obsessed kid growing up in a provincial town. I should know that was me, albeit at the tail end of the period in question. I gazed at guitars in the windows of guitar shops too. It's very evocative, and yet it still manages to avoid falling over into sentimental ditches. Not an
Cliche.
all time classic by any means, but an enjoyable song nonetheless. No surprise, it was one of the very few songs from the album to make it consistently onto the live set list.
Yeah, that's the other thing I hadn't thought of about the song. I mean, I thought that Jeff did it without coming off as condescending. Is like, yeah, I'm a rich rock star now, and thank God I didn't have to do that milk and bread thing. Oh my God, my life's turned out much better. But yeah, he also does it in a way that isn't so sentimental, just saccharine hallmark. Blech. So that I'll add that to another bit of impressive um, word work, which I seem to be missing. Impressive lyrical writing for that one. That's why I don't write songs.
Use your words, Eric.
Words gone, brain old. It not waffles.
Waffles.
Waffles. Okay. Corey Gomel replied, and this is going to require some music here.
Oh, God.
It's okay.
Well,
It's brief music. It's simple chords, and even though I didn't practice, I got it written down here, so hopefully I can pull this off. Corey Gomel, a Jeff Lynne's Electric Light Orchestra song by song podcast. Love the new title. I love the song. Surprise! But wasn't crazy about Eric Winsenson's prejudging of the rest of the album, especially since it doesn't sound like he's heard it. The fear of the rest of the LP must have come from someone. Yeah, I'm looking at you, EPJ. There it is, EPJ. Let me tell you now. Okay, let's try this. Everybody's talking about. Wait, should I do the initials? No, I should do the full. He wrote the initials. I'm going to do the full album titles. Okay. Everybody's talking about Out of the Blue, a New World Record, El Dorado. On the Third Day, Face the Music, Balance of Power, Zoom, Xanadu, Time, Secret Messages. All I am saying is give Alone in the Universe a chance. And enough of that.
yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's the end of his
Or
comment.
as a guy I knew named Chance once said, you know where this is going.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, he never got his wish.
Yeah. Today we recorded the episode for Alone in the Universe, the song. So we've gone through the album, and you might be surprised, and sometimes you might not be surprised. I think it's a pretty good bet that there are sometimes you're going to say, I knew you guys were going to say that about that. So, yeah.
Surprises were not a hallmark of this album. Suffice it to say.
Anyway, I don't want to give any spoilers away. Maybe, well, Eric, that's Eric. I might have loved it. I might have changed my mind and have just gushed praised about every single song on the album.
Let's just say that some of your comments about us doing the bonus tracks and some of our comments in the bonus tracks did kind of help push us to try to do more with some of our reviews of this.
Yes, actually, yeah.
Yeah, just so it didn't sound just like the album, the same every time. So anyway, we'll get back to that later on.
Yeah.
Vinny Corbett says, I really like this song. I think my wife must have been cutting onions the first time I heard it because I started tearing up a little. Anyway, when I was a boy back in the 80s, my friend down the street and I used to record ourselves on cassette tape, pretending to be radio DJs, hosting a show called E.L.O. Hour. Anyone who called in and got our trivia question right would win a t-shirt signed by Jeff Lynne, Bev Bevan, and Richard Tandy. The fact that this E.L.O. podcast is a reality takes me back to those days. And again, I thank both of you for doing this. Very much appreciated. And yes, if you guys want, you can have a t-shirt signed by Jeff Lynne, Bev Bevan, and Richard Tandy.
Yes. Oh, I don't know if you did air quotes over ELO shirt too.
I didn't say ELO shirt. I just said t-shirt.
Oh, a t-shirt. Sure. Yeah.
I said a t-shirt. I got a Goodwill right next to me here. So I got plenty of t-shirts I can go grab and just write their names on and send out to people.
Well, you can't really see it with this shirt, but if I hold up my arm here, it's a good shirt right here. Is the other sleeve? Yeah, the other one's got that. It's got another hole right in that sleeve too. So you can use this one too. So you do. Yeah. Oh, and call in was in quotes. I think that's friggin' great. And people who know me will understand why. Because when I was 13 and 14, me and my friend, we would get together and we would do radio shows on cassette tapes, and I still have them all, and some of them are out there on the internet. If I remember, I probably will. I will post a link to. There was an episode of the Eric Paul Johnson Radio Troller program from 2012. I didn't have time to do a proper show, so I just filled the hour with some of the better bits from the Mike and Eric radio show. So you can go listen to that. You can hear what I sounded like in 2012 when I was 43. And you can also hear what I sounded like in 1982 when I was 13. Um, they're actually pretty amusing. And I don't think I need to explain it much because I think I pretty much explained it in that Radio Trolla episode. So, yeah, I know where you're coming from, and I think it's pretty cool. Partly because, oh, good, I'm not the only dork that did that. Good, good. So,
Yeah. I have nostalgia from when I was a teenager too, where I would go out to the desert and play with why am I doing quotes?
you really did live in the desert. You probably really did play with fireworks in the desert.
Well, actually, we did, yes,
Mm.
and fire. There's some stories.
I'm sure. I don't
luckily,
have.
luckily, we never lived it. Luckily, we weren't ever responsible for any of that, for any of the big stuff. But
That's good.
yeah,
Yeah, I never wanted to play with him. One, it was illegal, and I was a goody. I was always a good boy. And two, I didn't want to blow my hands off and be called Stumpy for the rest of my life. So,
well, that's why you don't hold the firework after you light it.
but it sparkles so pretty. I just can't take my eyes off of it. This is so. There it goes.
You notice that when people light them, they either drop them or they put them down, they light it, and they move back. Smart people do.
I thought it was because they really had to go to the bathroom suddenly.
They do if they hold it. They hold the firework.
Yeah.
Nothing will make you evacuate more than losing a hand.
Yep. So, and I think,
especially since probably at that point you probably drank way too much and should not be touching a firework anyway.
Yeah. All right. I think mutilation and filling your pants is a good place to end this episode.
I think we're done here.
Yeah, we're done.
Before we're done here,
yeah,
I almost forgot. Like and subscribe, hit the notification, give us cash.
Patreon.
Patreon, PayPal, Suitcase. I'm serious. If you just want to meet me in a park and just hand over a suitcase full of cash, I'll give you a t-shirt. And we'll go our merry way.
Yes.
Yeah. And then that's when Jeff Lynne will pop in and say, I think you guys are done here.